Obviously from earlier when it wasn't raining.
Yeah, so it was before the storm, but while Chinny was there, he was actually able to speak with some people at the memorial about, you know, how just like your average people are really feeling the effects of this, right? So it's just rattled so many. So I'm working on getting some sound from people out there. We also have some new video from inside at the memorial. If you're able, Danny, A32.2. So again, like you mentioned, as the rain came in this morning, people were moving the memorial pieces inside into the state capitol. There's a memorial on Representative Hortman's desk.
So we got quite a bit to talk about. What's up, everybody? Sorry, I started a little bit late. I didn't even realize. Yo, more hair is like, your hair is fine. He knows me. I have a dandruff. I don't know what's going on. I need to order something. I tried this stuff over the counter. It's not working. I'm gonna have to look on Amazon for something. But we got to talk about some of the updates with this guy, Boelter, Vance Boelter. They gave some updates today. Brian Enton was in the court today, and there was a really nice comment by, I think it was USA Guns earlier. Thank you so much for that. That was really kind of you. Appreciate that comment. Brian Enton. And I'm going to show you some pictures, some videos, stuff like that. He's, I think, boots on the ground. And so he's like literally getting stuff, information. This is the latex. I meant to write Vance. The latex mask investigators say he used when he shot the Minnesota lawmakers. Really weird mask. It's like a costume mask. I've seen, there was this YouTuber I saw bought one. It was kind of expensive, but it's like supposed to be kind of realistic. Wish I could remember this guy's YouTube name. He's a prank guy. I don't remember. If I think of it later, I'll see if I can pull it up. These are the guns. And what's really interesting, too, is we're going to talk about his earnings because it's very, very, very weird. So he got a public attorney appointed. So these are the guns. Look at the guns first. Okay, the guns here in the car. He just left all this out. Like, what? He just left this all there in the car. Maybe it was too much to carry. Maybe he took off running. I don't know. The guns right there. Wow. Left all his gear behind, just out in the open. Oh, you saw Vitali? It was on my screen? Vitali, that's a whole nother story I talked about on the second page. But yeah, he's lost a lot of weight. Arrested in the Philippines, YouTuber. Something over here. This is, I thought, was pretty interesting. So, okay. He makes $540 a week working a part-time job. He owns his home free and clear and owns 7 vehicles. And he has 20 to 30,000 in his savings account. That was actually pretty funny, McGinnis. Tim Walt says this wasn't premeditated, it was premenstrual. Tampon Tim. So I thought that's kind of strange. He is a house flipper buying super cheap homes in the Midwest. Boelter bought for $20K a few years ago. I wonder, yeah, if you have a certain amount, like, is there a criteria? If you have 50,000 or 100K in the bank, can you just say you want a public defender? If it's your choice, I guess you can, right? Oh, you're right, right. The wife took money out of the bank. Let's see, how much was it again? Was it 50? You missed the joke. Tampon Tim, he was pushing for tampons in the boys' bathroom. That was part of the joke in the thumbnail. It's an AI Tim Waltz with. This is the picture of the suspect that was caught. I mean, he was wearing this outfit. The AI replaced his face, and it's Tim Waltz with tampons in his pocket. It's supposed to be kind of funny. We're going to talk about this viral picture, too, in a bit. But, yeah, I don't know what's up with that. So the wife, she was carrying cash. They didn't say how much. Was she helping him flee? I don't know why she hasn't been charged. They questioned her, and she left. Does she still have the cash on her? Is that why he only had, well, he has 30 to something, 20 to 30 in his savings account, makes $540 a week, part-time job. Maybe he's only allowed to make a certain, no, but he was 57, right? He's not retired yet, is he? 20 to 30K is nowhere near enough to defend this case. So that was another interesting tidbit. He said he was in federal court, Brian Enton. This is another thing that I thought was interesting. The morning after the shootings, investigators say that Vance texted his wife and family, "Dad went to war last night. I don't want to say more because I don't want to implicate anybody." So in this guy's mind, 50,000, okay. In this guy's mind, he was like some type of hero, some type of, I don't know, martyr, some type of, it's almost like the Dr. Grande was saying, Todd Grande. Forgot the words he said. Grandiose, kind of, you know, like this whole, just weird. Daddy went to war last night. New from the feds, Vance showed up at Senator Hoffman's home. He shouted, "This is the police! Open the door!" Shined the flashlight in their face, then shot them repeatedly when they questioned whether he was a real cop. So they did question it. Boelter had 3 AK-47 rifles and a 9mm handgun in his fake police car. That's insane, dude. There was something here I wanted to play too. Talk about the guns here.
County. He has now been charged in the deaths of Melissa Hortman, Mark Hortman, and the attempted murders of Yvette and John Hoffman. So where we are today is there is a 1 o'clock court hearing that's going to happen in, I believe, Minneapolis, and those are the state charges. There is also a 1:30 court appearance. He will actually be appearing. It's a first appearance in federal court. So there are two different cases here running simultaneously. It's our understanding, based on the federal authorities just an hour ago or so, that it looks like the federal case will move forward first, followed then by the state. The federal case against Vance Boelter state. The federal case against Vance Boelter is carrying charges that put the death penalty on the table here. So that is something that we thought might happen, and today that was confirmed, that one of the charges. This is the shot of Vance Boelter being apprehended last night. Here in our newsroom, we had gotten word at about 8:45 via some law enforcement sources that some images of the suspect had been seen on trail cams, some still images. We know that his vehicle was found in that area earlier in the afternoon, and they searched, there it is, the vehicle, his hat, the hat that they believed he was wearing. Oh, thank you, Amber. So these are actually some new images from the federal complaint, but this is that vehicle that you can see right there that appears to have been just sort of ditched on a road in Sibley County. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if the hat is directly underneath right there, but a hat that they believed that he was wearing as well.
Why just leave the car? Why not drive the car into the woods or something? He just left it there with all these weapons and cash and ammo, whatever, passports.
And, on the loose was found there as well. So here's a great little map to kind of show you where we where we are, because there are so many locations here. The Boelter residence to the left of your screen is the farmhouse where Vance Boelter lived. And it's a little confusing because he had this home, and then we just talked to the chief about a home that he was renting with some roommates in Minneapolis, and we don't yet quite have a handle on exactly what that was about. But our reporter Karen Scullin last night talked to some of the neighbors of Vance Boelter who just said they remember him and him alone sort of doing things like going to the mailbox. So we know that. And then if you take a look at where the Buick was recovered to the right there, that's the shot we just looked at of the car. The hat was also found there. Obviously, again, the car looking like it was abandoned. So that was yesterday, early afternoon, that they were searching that area. This is the possible sighting. The male on the bike was just a sort of a report. I don't know that we got that confirmed last night or not by officials, but that was something that was brought up as well. Officials did say that someone did report seeing a man running into the woods, and I don't know if it was law enforcement or a witness, someone there. Okay, it was an officer, Amber is telling me, who saw a man running into the woods. So at that time, it was late afternoon, and we had a press conference with the BCA at 5:30, where Drew Evans, if you were kind of reading between the tea leaves, it just felt like they were close. Now, he says at that point they didn't have the trail cam images at that point, so they didn't know for sure. But I think just that Buick being there was giving them some sense that he may still be in the area. They concentrated all of their efforts, more than 100 different officers, agents who were there in this area all afternoon. They were asked by a reporter, well, are you going to the Canadian border? Do you think he's fled? And it just kept coming back to the majority of our resources are in Sibley County right now. And then sure enough, 8:45, 9 o'clock is when we got word that they were tracking him, they were tracking Vance Boelter, and that they were in the process of closing in and apprehending him. This is one of the, I think, scariest images, just from a visual perspective. And at some point, I hope we can sort of stop showing this, because I think this is, as I'm just talking to people, this is the image that is the most terrifying. And to not be able to sort of see who's behind that and see and realize in real time that that is indeed not a police officer, and that is the mask that was found and used as well. This is the discarded mask. Not exactly sure where this was. I know there was some early reporting that it was found near the home in Brooklyn Park, but that is one of the pieces of evidence that was found as well. And then again, these are images that are coming from the federal affidavit today. The components of the recovered Beretta 9mm handgun. We know that he was armed when they found him last night. I don't know that they said exactly, and I apologize because there have been so many small details here over the course of the last 48 hours or so that I'm not completely sure, and I don't want to misspeak, but we do know that he was armed last night when they apprehended him. And again, it just speaks to how fortunate we are that this situation ended without any more loss of life. Here, for the first time, so I'm seeing this for the first time, as you may be, but these are, I believe, some of the scribblings that they've been talking about. Law enforcement has been, let me just say, the first day, they did use the word manifesto, and I think it was just sort of a descriptive word to help us understand that there was some documents in the vehicle that they found at the Hortman home when it was abandoned. They have been very, very specific in the last 24 hours to have us reel back on that language, because they don't want to feed into the idea that there was this baked ideology. They just don't know yet. What they want us to say is that there was a list. They
don't want to feed that there was a baked ideology, but they've already said there's a hit list, and that it's supposedly all Democrats and some abortion clinics. So that's already putting that out there. I saw a leaked list. I'm not going to share it here on Twitter because they're very particular about on these pages, social media pages, if you share something like YouTube or anywhere else with people's names and stuff. I haven't gone through it all yet, but there is a list. Now, this thing here, I guess this is something else, one of his writings. Intellis, that's one of those websites that you basically type in somebody's name and you can get their address and like all the different people, like just like been verified. It's like one of those sites. Bits like I've been verified. Intellis. Look, TruePeopleSearch.com, Truth Finder, 3 days. This guy over here is skimping pennies. 3 days free. He's over here skimping pennies to do murders. Kay says people need to stop saying that Vance was not living with his wife. He was living with his wife. Yeah, I mean, I believe the story is that he was living with his wife, but he was also staying part-time in the other place where the best friend lives. So there was times where he would stay. I mean, you could say he's living with the wife, but he's also staying in different places. You know, he's staying with that best friend. I don't know how many nights in a week, how often it was. He didn't just sleep in one location. He had multiple properties. That's what the whole conversation was. And so these websites, let me see what else they got here. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to grab me. It's grabbing everything else. We got neighbor who address needed. Peoplefinders.com. Need name, phone number, or address, information.com. Free people. Search engine. Not free. Spoked. Not free. People. Money People's Finder. That's kind of incredible to me that this dude was worried about getting a bang for his buck to search people up so he can kill them. You know? County assessor's webpage, use online. What the interesting thing to me too is like he literally left these people all the receipts, all the pieces of evidence out in the open. This is incredible to me. He literally left like a journal. This dude journaled his plan. I'm going to these websites. This one's free. In case you didn't know, I'll write it down for you. You can put this when you guys find me and charge me in court, I wrote it at the top of the page, finding people. What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? This is so weird.
It was definitely a list of targets, a hit list. And then there were ramblings, things like this, just notes, random.
And the describing this as ramblings. No, this is very succinct. This is very well put together, neatly written. You even have arrows pointing to this stuff. What? And I also find it interesting that the hit list was typed out. Maybe it's not that interesting. Maybe it's not anything, but the hit list looks like it was just typed out. I don't know.
Random paragraphs and sentences and words, but not so much a manifesto. So we wanted to show you some of that as well. And we'll just kind of go through some of these. This is the photo of the vehicle at the Hortman home. This is the vehicle that was left behind. This is when the Brooklyn Park officers thwarted and made him pivot at this critical moment where he had to take off and be separated from all of these weapons and his mode of transportation, which is ultimately, as we look back, seemingly the point at which this became much more achievable for law enforcement to apprehend him. This is the fake police decal that is on I think they described it earlier as the decals that you'd put on your mailbox. You order them from Amazon and you put it on your mailbox. In the middle of the night, this was happening 2, 3 in the morning. This is not something that you're going to see. You're going to see those flashing lights in the driveway. And here is the encounter. This looks like it might be from dash cam, excuse me, of the encounter of those Brooklyn Park officers arriving at the home. It was about 3:30 in the morning at the Hortman home, and this is where they see the suspect and interact with the suspect for the first time. It was not clear today. Initially, they said there was an exchange of gunfire. Today, they backed off of that a little bit and said they really have to recreate the scene because they just don't know, but they do know that the Brooklyn Park officers fired at this suspect when they saw him shoot.
Lily in London tagged me. Oh, she deleted it. Made sure you could see he used a 3-day free trial. That's just absurd to me. That this guy took the time to write 3 days free trial. This guy has multiple cars, multiple properties. He's over here trying to get a bang for his buck to search people up and kill them. That's just odd to me, man. And then he literally wrote, he writes, because she zoomed it in. He literally writes, A free website, free, whitepages.com. Like, you had to note that. You didn't know that? Like, you had to note that. Something very just off about this whole
shooting his way into the Hortman home. We weren't sure if he had knocked first, as he did at the first crime scene in Champlin, but it sounds like at this home he shot his way through the door and went through, and that is where he is accused of murdering Melissa and Mark Hortman in their home and fleeing out the back door. And those are some images that we are all seeing for the first time here today. That is just a sliver of what we received today. And it was interesting because at the first state press conference today with Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty, very much more tight-lipped, as she said, the manhunt is over. We needed to put a lot of information out about the manhunt to catch him, but now the investigation phase begins, and they don't want to compromise the integrity of the investigation. So that's on the state side. On the federal side is where we're seeing the affidavit and the detail here. I haven't had a chance to get through this, but this is the affidavit where those photos came from, and some of the additional detail that we'll be learning about here
have to look for that
in the coming days as they piece this all together. All right, taking a look at the time here, coming up on 1 o'clock.
Okay, so I just rewinded it because I wanted to see that part.
It's gonna be a big one.
There's a couple other things I wanted to go over. Let me pause it here. This was from them announcing chilling details.
The suspect in the Minnesota shootings. Let's listen.
Political assassinations are rare. They strike at the very core of our democracy. But the details of Boelter's crime are even worse. They are truly chilling. It is no exaggeration to say that his crimes are the stuff of nightmares. Boelter stalked his victims like prey. He went to their homes, held them out as a police officer, and shot them in cold blood. Now, there's been a lot of information and misinformation out there about Boelter's crimes. We have filed a detailed 20-page complaint and affidavit that sets forth what happened in this case. I'd like to share some of that information with you now. In the early morning hours of June 14th, Boelter went to the homes of 4 Minnesota state politicians with the intent to kill them. Boelter first traveled to the home of Minnesota State Senator John Hoffman in Champlin, Minnesota. Boelter arrived at the senator's home disguised as a police officer. He arrived in a black SUV with emergency lights turned on and with a license plate that read police. Boelter wore a black tactical vest and body armor. He carried a flashlight and a Beretta 9mm handgun. He also wore a hyper-realistic silicone mask. Senator Hoffman had a security camera. I've seen the footage from that camera, and it is chilling. Boelter knocked on Senator Hoffman's front door and repeatedly shouted, "This is the police, open the door." Senator Hoffman and his wife, Yvette, came to the door. When they opened the door, Boelter shined the flashlight in their faces and said there had been a shooting reported in the house. Boelter asked if they had any weapons. When Boelter lowered his flashlight, which he had shined in their face, they realized that he was not a police officer.
Oh, that's what he did. That's how he hid that ugly, crazy-looking mask that he had on his face. I guess they didn't check the camera. I mean, I guess somebody could kind of catch you off guard. If somebody's just banging on your door, "It's the police!" You might just, if you're sleeping in a deep sleep, might wake up in shock and just kind of go and open the door.
They shut it out. "You're not a cop. You're not a police officer."
Oh, wow.
Boelter then announced, "This is a robbery," and forced himself into their home. When Senator Hoffman attempted to push Boelter out and stop him from entering his home, Boelter shot him repeatedly.
Wow.
Boelter then shot Miss Hoffman repeatedly. Wow. Boelter fled the scene, and the Hoffman's daughter called 911. Unfortunately, the Hoffmans survived, although they remain hospitalized. After shooting Senator Hoffman and his wife, Boelter traveled to the home of another Minnesota state representative in Maple Grove, Minnesota. Video surveillance showed that Boelter rang the doorbell at the state representative's house at approximately 2:24 a.m. on Friday night. Again, he was dressed as a law enforcement officer, wearing a tactical vest and body armor, carrying a handgun and a flashlight, and wearing that same hyper-realistic silicone mask. Again, the images, as you can see on the screen, are haunting. Now, fortunately, the state representative was not home. She and her family were gone on vacation, and so Boelter left. Boelter then traveled to the home of a Minnesota state senator who lived in New Hope, Minnesota. He parked in the street in that same black SUV with the police license plate. At about 2:36 a.m. on Friday night, after learning of the shooting of Senator Hoffman, New Hope police dispatched an officer to conduct a wellness check on the state senator who lived in New Hope. When the New Hope officer arrived at the scene, she saw Boelter's black SUV parked down the block with the lights on. The New Hope police officer believed that Boelter was a police officer who had been dispatched to the scene
they are still
to
alive?
check on the staff.
So this is something that Lily posted earlier this morning, and she noticed it, like you said. It sounds like he says, unfortunately, but like the benefit of the doubt me, that always gets me screwed. Right? Nice me. I just want to think that he didn't say that. Must have been like, it just didn't pick it up. Like, I don't know, the mic or something. It did sound like that. Let me see if, so I don't have to lose my place. I think she posted it earlier. I don't know if she deleted it. Let me see. Oh, here it is. Here it is. She posted this earlier. I don't know what to think about it. I'll just replay it real quick. And thank you for the 5. Appreciate that. Hash. Check it. Listen again.
And the Hoffman's daughter called 911. Unfortunately, the Hoffmans survived.
I don't know what to tell you. It sounds like that, but there's no way he said that. I don't know.
Scene, and the Hoffman's daughter called 911. Unfortunately, the Hoffmans survived.
Unfortunately, he could have said unfortunately. It might be one of those weird things. I don't know.
Hoffman's daughter called 911, and the Hoffman's daughter called 911. Unfortunately, the Hoffmans.
I think unfortunately must have been unfortunately.
Status of the state senator. The New Hope police officer pulled up next to Boelter in his car, rolled down her window, and attempted to speak with him. Boelter did not respond. According to the officer, he just sat there and stared straight ahead. So the New Hope police officer, who had been dispatched to the scene, proceeded to the state senator's home, and she waited for other law enforcement to arrive. When they did, by the time they did, Boelter had left the scene. Boelter then traveled to Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, in the home of Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman. At approximately 3:30 a.m., Boelter arrived at Representative Hortman's house in his black SUV with the police license plates. He parked in the driveway and left the emergency lights on his SUV flashing, as if he was a police officer. Boelter approached Representative Hortman's home, again dressed as a police officer, wearing the tactical vest and body armor, and wearing that hyper-realistic mask. He was armed and carrying a flashlight. Before he entered the home, 2 Brooklyn Park police officers arrived at the scene. They too had been dispatched to check on Representative Hortman after learning of the shooting of Senator Hoffman. When they arrived at the scene, they saw Boelter's black SUV parked in the driveway with the emergency lights flashing, and they saw Boelter standing in front of the house several feet from the door. When Boelter saw the officers get out of the car, he drew his weapon and began firing. He rushed into the house through the front door, firing into it. He repeatedly fired into the house, and when he entered, he murdered Representative Hortman and her husband, Mark. The Brooklyn Park police officers fired at Boelter as he rushed into the home, but he escaped into the home and out the back. Officers recovered Boelter's 9mm Beretta, along with the body armor and the mask, behind the home along his path of flight when he fled on foot. They later searched Boelter's car, where they found 5 more firearms, including assault-style rifles and a large quantity of ammunition. Boelter also had in his car notebooks containing a list of more than 45 Minnesota state and federal elected officials, including Representative Hortman. Now, Boelter planned his attack carefully. He researched his victims and their families. He used the internet and other tools to find their addresses and names, the names of their family members. He conducted surveillance of their homes and took notes about the location of their homes.
Damn. So I don't understand why they don't have premeditated charges yet. It says non-premeditated. I have it somewhere saved. Here it is. I'm not exactly sure. What I was reading about it, they could change that. That could change in the future. You know, maybe for legal reasons. But this guy basically had like an Amazon wish list. You know, like just like a journal, a guide. Here's the weapons. Here's what I was planning to do. Here's the websites that I used. It's almost like he's promoting the websites too, getting some kickback. These are the websites. You can have a 3 free trial. This is free. Check this one out, that one out. Literally a manual and directions, you know. And I don't know. I wonder if he gets off on this. Maybe he feels he's some type of mastermind, you know, or that he did something huge. Where was I here?
He also prepared in other ways. He concealed himself as a police officer, outfitting his black SUV with police lights and a police license plate, wearing a black tactical vest and body armor, carrying a police flashlight and a handgun. And of course, he wore that hyper-realistic silicone mask as seen on the surveillance videos. The video of his arrival and shooting of Senator Hoffman is truly chilling. Again, it's no exaggeration to say this is the stuff of nightmares. There's a photo of the firearms found in Boelter's abandoned SUV. Based on these crimes, we brought a federal complaint charging Boelter with an array of federal charges. Counts 1 and 2 charge him with stalking. Count 1 charges him with stalking Representative Melissa Hortman using interstate facilities. And that's Title 18, United States Code 2261. The statutory penalties there are life in prison. Count 2, similarly, charges him with stalking State Senator John Hoffman using interstate facilities. The maximum penalty of that count is 20 years in prison. Counts 3 and 4 charge Boelter with the murder of Melissa and of the Hortmans using a firearm, but in violation of 18 U.S.C. 924J. And these are punishable by a term of life imprisonment or even death. And counts 5 and 6 charge him with shooting the Hortmans and the Hoffmans using a firearm, and both of those counts also carry a maximum sentence of life in prison. Now, before I finish my remarks, I want to say a little bit about law enforcement and the manhunt that we've heard about the last 2 days. Over the past 48 hours, federal, state, and local law enforcement from throughout the state of Minnesota have worked together to carry out the largest manhunt in Minnesota history. Now, a lot has been said about law enforcement in recent weeks, but make no mistake, the men and women of our federal, state, and local law enforcement put their lives at risk and on the line to keep Minnesota safe. They work tirelessly, day and night, to make sure.
Okay, so that was that update. I have the document here. I don't know that we need to go through all of it, but here's some of the pictures. Boelter knocking on the front door. You can see this from the camera. We have what else? That other picture there, we saw that all over the. Said he was stalking, planned stalking, murders, attempted murders, is discussed below. Several websites that allow users to search for personal information of others. And by the way, yeah, there's a lot of websites out there that they have free ones and they have paid ones that people can look up your information. I use DataSeal. There's two companies I use, and it's not 100%. I have a sponsor with DataSeal. It's not 100% though, but they'll go and they'll try to like remove your data online. I recommend it for anybody that's on the internet, unless you're like you just have like an account that doesn't have anything on there, like none of your names or nothing. But sometimes people with your phone number, they can find your background information. They could your email address if they know your name. Sometimes in some cases, even just a link to your social media profile. So you want to protect yourself in that essence too, because all these people have to do is type your information in. They're pulling you up where you live. So this guy was using all those websites. And it said that Boelter made a list containing names and home addresses of many Minnesota public officials, mostly or all Democrats. He found websites that sold hyper-realistic silicone masks, which looked like the mask he wore during the shooting. He purchased materials from Fleet Farm for use in his shootings, including flashlights and resources that could be used to create the type of fake police license plate found in Boelter's SUV. We know the timeline already. Picture. That's when he said this is a robbery. Went in there and shot and killed him. At that point, man, it really is true that if you're getting a knock on your door, well, I don't know if there's a cop. If you think there's a cop knocking on your door, you come in to the door with a gun or no? I'm thinking if somebody knocks on your door at 2, 3 in the morning, you might need to be holding a gun in your hand, to be honest with you, because you just don't know these days. You know, you don't know what's going on in people's heads. You make a joke, you post a meme or something, and somebody sees it. 3 years later or weeks later, this person's been really upset about your joke or your comment, and they're stalking you and watching you and spending their whole life following you and recording and screenshotting, tracking your family because of a joke or something. You never know, man. People are whacked out. So this is video surveillance. This is an image from New Hope Police Department dash camera footage. They reported that the individual sitting in the black SUV was a bald, white male staring straight ahead. The officer tried to speak with that man, but he continued staring straight ahead and did not respond. The officer drove the rest of the distance to public officials' 2 residents, saw no signs of distress, and waited for additional law enforcement. By the time they did, the dark SUV had left the area. So they even stopped this guy, and he left. They encountered a man at 2:36 in the morning. An officer encountered a man now believed to have been Boelter sitting in the driveway. Or sitting in the driver's seat of the black SUV parked on the street from public officials' home number 2. The officer believed that the SUV resembled a squad car and was equipped with a police-style light bar, was in fact the law enforcement officer providing protection. The officer believed that the SUV, which resembled a squad car and was equipped with police-style light bar, was in fact a law enforcement officer providing protection. So that if this is a pretty big deal because I'm trying to think of the timeline. They almost could have saved the lives of the other people. That's a big deal, I think. Let me see. Wait, was this after the second killing or? Let's see. Wow. Yeah. So yeah. So this must have been after the first shooting. After the first shooting, they spot his vehicle. An officer encounters a black SUV parked near the second home. The officer mistakenly believed that Boelter was law enforcement, and so he was not stopped. That's wild. Isn't that crazy? I have Data Seal. There's two websites. Data Seal is good, and there's another one called Delete Me. So you can check out both websites. I am sponsored by Data Seal, but I recommend check out both websites, see what you like. You know, pick out whatever. But yeah, I would start with that because it takes a couple of weeks for it to because it has to go and request all these websites to remove your information. Now it's not 100% proof. Like if you have a criminal record and it's on like a court website, they could pull that up if they have your information, you know, if they know where to look. But if you're protecting and wiping your information online, if they don't know your information, they might not be able to pull it up. So it really depends. But yeah, this is just if I was you, I'd just recommend research it, come to your own conclusions. Because of what I do with YouTube, you know, it's worth it. I pay for that stuff. But again, like I said, nothing's 100% proof. People could find you and whatever. There's something you have to do. So you have to protect yourself. So this is eerie. This is super creepy that this cop, they thought he was just another cop, so they let him go. He was parked by the second home. And the second home is where these people had passed away. Boelter, that's where Representative Melissa Hortman and the husband. So he could have been stopped. That's wild. That's wild. The officer reported that the individual sitting in the black SUV was a bald white male staring straight ahead. So he was just frozen. The officer tried to speak with the man. He didn't even respond. This creep, I wonder if he was wearing the mask at the time. This creep is sitting there. The cop is trying to talk to him. And he just keeps staring forward. The cop didn't think like, yo, what's up with this dude? He did not respond. The officer drove the rest of the distance to public officials' two residents, saw no signs of distress, waited there until additional law enforcement officers joined her. By the time they did, the SUV had left the area. Around 3:30 a.m., law enforcement, having learned of the shooting of Senator Hoffman's home in Champlin, went to the home in Minnesota State, Hortman, to conduct a safety check, and that's where they see the SUV outside. The black SUV resembled a law enforcement squad, was equipped with police-style lights. Those lights were odd and flashing. Here's a picture of that. The SUV's plate had been replaced with a fake police license plate. Nah. Where do you got that off Amazon? Where's the instructions for that? Law enforcement arriving at the Representative Hortman's house saw Boelter in dark clothes standing near the front door. So they even have a picture from the dash cam. That's him standing right there. And this guy over here sending a message, you guys might not see me forever. I might die. I might never no longer be here. And he put his hands up and surrendered quietly. Moments after the arrival on the scene, Boelter fired several gunshots into the house as he moved forward, entering Hortman's home. The dash cam footage from the scene moments after Boelter fired those shots as he moved into the house. A second set of gunshots can be heard. At the same time, several flashes appear in the entryway or the entryway windows. About the same time, officers moved forward to the home's front door where they saw Mr. Hortman lying on the floor. They approached the fallen Mr. Hortman, who had been struck by multiple gunshot wounds. They provided medical assistance. They found Representative Hortman suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Officers also found inside the home the Hortman. Oh, so this was the other thing. This dude, because I know there's a lot of pet dog lovers, and there's people that kind of care more about the pets than humans. Some people have told me, I know people that love animals. And so I heard about that today. I couldn't believe that. Where's that article? He killed the dog. Why do you have to kill the dog? It reminds me of that guy. There was a story that I covered. I'm trying to remember the details. It was just really whacked out, crazy story. This guy, okay, there was this father. He killed his autistic son, killed the family dog, and then offed himself. And so police went to go do a welfare check on the house. And when they get there, not only do they see all the father and the son and the dog dead, but they find his missing daughter because he had a missing daughter. This chick was dead in the house too. Then, I think it was 2 or 3 years back, the guy's wife had actually offed herself a couple of years prior. And when she offed herself, I forgot how many months it was later. I don't know, a couple months later, 15 months. I forgot how much. The lady that shot herself, the mother had gotten killed by her husband, the mother's husband, because the guy stabbed her to death. And that guy that stabbed her to death was in a standoff with police, and then he offed himself. That's the crazy. There was just another whole different story that we covered. It just, all that to just remind me of like this guy that went and killed these people's dog. I don't know why. Maybe the dog tried to defend the family. Maybe that dog was barking. He was just cold and callous. And it was a rescue dog. He killed the rescue dog. Look at that. Ah, man, savage, dude. A golden retriever. People love those dogs. Golden retrievers, they're good dogs. Those are nice, friendly dogs. Golden retriever. Aaron Kogel, a member of the Minnesota House since 2017, said one of the first things Hortman's children had to do after the shooting was put down Gilbert after learning their parents had been murdered. Hortman spent years doing volunteer work training service dogs. I wonder, man, how does somebody go to this length? What was on his mind? See, look, killing pets or children is the definition of evil. Thankfully, he didn't kill those kids. Those kids are going to be traumatized, though. Really sad for those kids, man. Those kids will be traumatized. Maybe that's how you end up with these people that when you pull up in the wrong driveway, they're busting shots. Or you knock on the wrong door, they're busting shots. Who knows how those people grew up, right? Those stories that we've covered, those people, the wrong driver and you're getting popped at, shot at.
How do we know this much about this dude, but nothing on Trump's first assassin or Epstein?
I know. That's true. Oh, Thought Criminal. Did you read the Salt Lake shooter killed a guy? A Project Run. Yeah, I actually had that in my tab to share with you guys. I was going to share it towards the end. Thing is, because my ADD ass, my unmedicated ADD ass, I'll forget it and end the stream. Let me just do it real quick. With the protests, yeah, there was this protester shot dead. The one they say is very peaceful, mostly peaceful. Protester shot dead at Utah No Kings rally was Project Runway designer. Hit by event peacekeepers. Imagine that. Peacekeepers at the event. Peacekeepers shot and killed this guy. So they were supposedly trying to stop a gunman with AR-15.
We just heard shots. Everyone's running. Shots or fireworks, but
I'm just not fulfilled with what I'm doing. Life is already busy.
So they killed this guy.
By who?
I don't know. They killed this person. Unfortunately, that's why I don't like crowds, man. I don't like huge groups of crowds. And also, carrying a gun bears a big responsibility. It should be taken very serious responsibility. You know? And I remember my concealed guy, he told me, like the guy that was a guy on permit, even though we don't need it here in Florida, I went and got it anyway because I wanted to learn. You know, I'm still learning. So I wanted to try to educate myself. But my concealed guy was telling me, well, one of the things I always say, because it was kind of funny, he had he told me he always carries everywhere. He's like, I'm carrying now. I was like, are you serious? So he stood up and I was shocked because I couldn't even tell he had anything on him. I had no idea at the gun range. And he lifted his shirt and then he took out his gun. And I've told the story a couple times. His skin had an indent of the gun. You could literally see like an indent and a crease in his skin, the shape of his gun. Because he said he's had it there, I don't know how many decades. He said he's never had to shoot anybody. But that's how much he believes in taking that shit everywhere he goes. And the other thing he told me is...
As ex-machine gunner, let me tell you.
Ooh, really? No. The other thing he told me is that, like, you got to be really careful not just to be some type of hero. Because he was like, what if you see something happening out in public and you see somebody with a gun and you go and shoot them? And what if that person with the gun was actually defending themselves and you go and shoot somebody that was defending themselves because you think they're the perpetrator and they're not? Like, you don't really know what you're getting yourself into just to interfere, unless you see somebody doing a mass shooting or something, you know, but like you can't just, you know, and then you're in court and you're finding, you know, you're going through all kinds of stuff. You gotta be really careful. And some of these people just you can get some serious time for brandishing your gun. Just to threaten people, to scare people off. You want to be cool, you want to be hood, so you want to pull out your gun to scare somebody. You get some serious time for that too. It's very, very, very serious. Here's the Gamboa. We talked about him yesterday too. Gamboa arrested. Well, that's the other thing too. My friend, the concealed guy was telling me de-escalate. You want to try to leave the situation. You're not trying to engage it. Because if something happens where I tried to de-escalate, I tried to walk away, I tried to leave, I didn't try to do this and that. This person kept coming for me, and then I had to defend myself, you know. So this guy, the peacekeepers of the protest, shot and killed an innocent person. Detectives are actively investigating Gamboa, the actions of the peacekeepers. That's crazy, dude. Was a beloved 39-year-old designer living in Utah but raised in Lutopa. He was in the season of Project Runway. Really sad. That's why I don't like big crowds like that, man. It gives me an anxiety. I don't like being packed like a sardine. I don't know how I was raised in New York because I don't like that. Some people, they're fine with that. Maybe when you're younger. I don't like being like this, walking down the street or just packed bunch of, like, I can't even imagine getting on a subway or a bus in New York or something like that, just packed. Anything happens, you're getting trampled. Dozens of people are getting shot. Somebody throws gasoline and lights it up. 5-6 dozens of people are getting burned. I don't like that. You can't even breathe. Like dozens of people on top of you and compacted in a train or walking in the street. How can anybody live like that? That's probably why those people are crazy. You don't get no fresh air. You guys barely have trees. You know? How can everybody be like that? No wonder, like, having all that energy just on top of you, stacked, all the different people, it's too much. It's too much. That's why eventually I might move to the sticks. Eventually, because I'm kind of in a hybrid area. It is a little, but there's also farms and stuff like that. And I like the fresh air, I like the sun, I like the animals, I like the vegetation, gardening, all that stuff. Anyway, you see how we got sidetracked. So this guy killed a dog. I don't know what was in his mind. Maybe he didn't want to get bit. Maybe the dog was trying to defend the family, you know? And he just shot the dog and kept it moving. So this was him standing near the front door. So Boelter fired several gunshots into the house as he moved forward, entering Hortman's home. The cops are literally right there. That's so twice they kind of. I mean, I'm not blaming the cops, but that first time he was just parked there, they should have questioned him more. He's just sitting there like a freak in his car. They're questioning him, and police pretending to be a cop. They let him go, and then they encounter him again at the house, and this time he pushes his way inside of the house. So at that point, they really couldn't do much, I guess. So he forces his way into the house. In the dash cam footage from the scene, moments after Boelter fired those shots, as he moved into the house, a second set of gunshots can be heard at the same time. Several flashes appear in the entryway windows. About the same time, officers moved forward to the home's front doorway, where they saw Mr. Hortman lying on the floor. Law enforcement approached the fallen Hortman, who had been struck multiple times by gunshot wounds. They also found the lady, Hortman. Boelter fled Hortman's home, leaving behind Boelter's 2015 Ford Explorer SUV that was parked outside. So how did he get away? I guess just on foot. After obtaining warrant, officers searched the vehicle. I know from my training and experience that Ford did not manufacture 2015 Explorers in the state of Minnesota. Officers found evidence tying Boelter to the SUV, including a bill for a storage unit with Boelter's name. Storage unit. They also found the license plates for the SUV Boelter drove that night. Public records show the SUV is registered to Boelter and his wife. So these are the 5 firearms in the SUV, including semi-automatic assault-style rifles, as well as a large quantity of ammunition organized in loaded magazines. They also found a medical kit containing wound treatment supplies and several eye masks of the kind that might be worn while sleeping. Okay. From the SUV, officers recovered several notebooks full of handwritten notes. Listed among the pages of those notes were the names of more than 45 Minnesota state and federal public officials, including Hortman. So he had run off, I guess, because he wasn't planning on getting confronted by cops, I guess. And so he took off running and left all this stuff behind. I guess he was planning this party. I guess he wasn't planning on getting caught. One of those notebooks contained lists of internet-based people search engines, including True People Search, Spokeo, People Finder has been verified, White Pages, Truth Finder, Intellius, Ownerly, US Search, People Looker. There's a bunch of websites that people can search your information. And if you want a number to kind of protect yourself, like a little tip that I could give you is you can set up a Google Voice number for free. You go to Google Voice. You can even set it up on your phone. You can set up Google Voice on your phone. It's free. And then if you want to give out your number that's kind of protected, and maybe you don't want everybody having your personal number, you can make a Google Voice number. I have Google Voice on my phone. I have 2 phones, but I also have Google Voice. Oh, I didn't install it. Oh yeah, it's right here. Yeah, I have my Google Voice, and so if people have your Google Voice number, if they call the voice number, it goes straight to your phone.
Average American load tears of joy.
Thank you for the 5. Thank you, Rockman. Appreciate that. That's the way you can kind of protect yourself a little bit. If you have to give your number out, but you don't really want them having a personal number, you can have a Google Voice number, and it sets up on your phone easily, and it still forwards to your phone. Offers you a little bit of protection, kind of, you know. And so these are the websites we looked at already. Addresses.com, yellowpages.com. This guy was like researching these people. Just enter a name and state. Most property reads in America are public. Or I think this says deeds? Deeds. In addition, officers found Garmin GPS navigation device in the SUV. That device's trip history included addresses of Representative Hortman's home in Brooklyn Park, in Maple Grove, and Senator Hoffman's in Champlain. The trip history also included home addresses for at least 2 other state officials. Upon searching the surrounding area, law enforcement found components of a disassembled Beretta 9.2 9mm 92 semi-automatic handgun, at least 3 magazines strewn across the ground a few blocks from the representative home. Rounds contained in one or more of the magazines bore the same head stamp on the discharge cartridge casings found within or the immediate vicinity of Representative Hortman's home. Records accessible to law enforcement indicate that Beretta was purchased by Boelter in or about January 2000. Okay, very detailed. In the same general area, they found a flashlight, a tactical body armor vest, and a mask consistent with Boelter's can be seen wearing earlier in the morning. According to records, Boelter purchased 3 Beretta handguns as well as many other firearms. Law enforcement obtained information to track the locations of cell phones known to be used by Boelter and his wife. Miss Boelter consented to law enforcement search of her phone. That search revealed around 6:18 Miss Boelter and other family members received a group text message from Boelter. That in that text, Boelter wrote, among other things, "Dad went to war last night. I don't want to say more because I don't want to implicate anybody." Dad went to war. How did he go to war? This guy was a total coward. Dressed up, creeping in the night, researching people, sneaking up on people, hiding. Around the same time as Boelter received a text message from Boelter stating, among other things, "Words are not going to explain how sorry I am for this situation. There's going to be some people coming to the house armed and trigger happy, and I don't want you guys around." That's ironic for this guy. Miss Boelter consented to the search of her car. From the car, law enforcement recovered 2 handguns, approximately $10,000 in cash and passports for Miss Boelter and her children, who were in the car at the time. What are they going to do? Run? Take off? Go on vacation? Law enforcement obtained cell phone location information from multiple phones known to be associated with Boelter. The location data led law enforcement to a residence in Fremont Avenue in North Minneapolis. Law enforcement also found the same Fremont Avenue address in the garment's trip history described above. At the Fremont home, law enforcement encountered and interviewed a man who said he lives in the Fremont residence, and he explained he shares it with Boelter at least part of the time. So that's the friend.
Hi, Mel. Hope Maddie is feeling like good better. Hope you had a great Father's Day. You're the best dad ever. Heart hands light skin tone gift.
Trauma ICU, thank you so much. I appreciate the 10. Gracias. She's doing good. She's doing good. Yeah, I don't know why they said 10K here. Approximately 10K in cash, I guess. Also found a purchase receipt from Fleet Farm dated June 9th, 2025, which documented the purchase of, among other things, a flashlight, tactical rifle case, 2 firearm ammunition, and materials believed to have been used to create the fake police license plate. Okay. They found several notebooks containing handwritten notes. Okay. Officers found listed the names of homes and addresses of numerous Minnesota public officials, including Representative Hortman, one of the people Boelter shot and murdered on June 14th. Beneath her name, a notion reads, "Married, marked 2 children, 11th term." Wow. Mark was the name of Representative Hortman's husband. Another notion and one of the recovered notebooks names Hortman, her address, and her spouse again, with the added notion, "Big house off golf course, 2 ways in to watch from one spot." That is an apt description of the Hortman's home, which backs up to a golf course. Dang. Another notebook notation lists 3 websites for companies that sell face masks similar to the one Boelter wore. One of those websites describes itself as your premier destination for high-end, hyper-realistic silicone masks. Another website that it sets a new standard for hyper-realistic silicone masks. That's creepy. That is creepy. Damn. It's like out of a movie, that mask. What does he think? His family's going to look at him as a hero? His kids are going to look up to him? Okay. According to an interview later conducted with law enforcement witness one at approximately 7 a.m., Boelter met witness one at the bus stop at 48th Avenue, North and North Lindale Avenue in North Minneapolis. Witness reported to law enforcement that he had no prior connection with Boelter. Prior to meeting him at the bus stop, Boelter had 2 duffel bags with him. Boelter asked to purchase an electric bike from a witness. That's what they were talking about, this guy. Because I remember the reporters were asking about, like, oh, does he have some type of transportation? At one point, an electric bike came up. After witness one agreed, they together boarded a bus and traveled to witness one's residence. After arriving at the residence, Boelter asked to purchase witness one's Buick sedan as well. Oh, so he was trying to make moves. Around this time, Boelter and witness one drove in the Buick to a U.S. Bank branch location. Boelter withdrew $2,200. Oh, that's where that picture comes from. And thereby emptied an account in his name. U.S. Bank captured Boelter wearing the cowboy hat. Okay. Boelter reportedly provided about $900 to witness one to complete the purchase of an e-bike and a Buick. He got a deal. Around 2:30 a.m., June 15, law enforcement received information about a possible sighting of an individual riding an e-bike approximately 2 miles northeast of Boelter's family home in Green Isle. However, law enforcement was unable to locate Boelter at the time. Law enforcement investigated further and discovered the Buick that Boelter purchased from witness one abandoned on Highway 25, close to the location of the reported e-bike sighting. There's a Buick. Abandoned Buick. A search of the vehicle uncovered, among other things, what appeared to be the cowboy hat when captured at the bank, as well as handwritten letter directed to the FBI. In the letter, the writer, who claimed he was Vance Luther Boelter, admitted to being the shooter at the Large, Minnesota, involved in the 2 shootings on the morning of Saturday, June 15th. Approximately 9:10 p.m. on June 15, law enforcement located Boelter in a field approximately 1 mile from his family residence. He was around this area the whole time. So let's talk about the viral picture. The viral picture that's going around everywhere. Well, this was actually kind of funny. Breaking: best friend and former roommate Vance heard him yell, "This is MAGA country," on numerous occasions. That was kind of funny. Okay, so the viral picture. Does Vance Boelter look like a Republican to you? Definitely not. So this is going viral, and they're saying that this is Vance and his wife, and there's a shirt that says, "I think, therefore I am a Democrat." And they're saying that this was Vance in a Resist shirt. And, you know, I have to keep it real. I'm not going to bullshit. That picture is not him. That picture, this was posted. This is the original post, I believe. And this is former... Where did I go? Oh, I'm over here. The former chair of Harris County Democrat Party, Lily Scheider, and her husband with the gun shirt. So this is not Vance, is what they're saying. Some people thought this was him. It's not him. At first, when I saw this, because I saw some really big accounts post this on X, I was like, oh, shit, that's him. Oh! But that's not him. The former Lily Scheider. June 14, it was posted. Boelter.
Got more tense, and police started looking. It was like yesterday at noon, somewhere around noon. I was working on my car in the garage there, and we have, you know, tractors come by here all the time, farm tractors and stuff, and I thought, well, why does that one sound like he's idling in my driveway? And I looked out the window out of the garage there, and I had a SWAT truck
How did he
parked
get all
right
this
over here.
information from this guy? But barely any info of the guy that tried to assassinate our president.
Yeah, they disappeared. I don't know where those guys are at. The people that tried to assassinate.
Another one was in the driveway, and
sixed.
it's like something's going on out here. So, and it didn't take us long to figure it out because we had heard that the guy was posing driving, like what looked like a cop car, and there's another one just like it up at his barn right now. He had two of them.
Similar cars?
Yeah, exactly like.
So you had seen them before, those type of cars?
It's like, I don't know if he bought them like slightly used at an auction, old police car or something like that, or, a security car or something like that.
But what did you see here tonight when more police started rushing here?
It's, police and, SWAT teams and helicopters and drones. They've all been flying over the past couple of days, so.
Yeah, but tonight, didn't it get more tense as...
Not really. It's been pretty much that way since yesterday at probably around 6.
And you didn't hear anything as he was caught?
No, not really. We were just sitting inside, and one of our friends called us and told us that he'd been, captured. But we had heard, you can see the helicopters still flying around up there. But we had heard, the note came by on the phone that he was right down the road here. Mm-hmm. And when the state troopers were searching our property, they said they might have spotted him on the neighbor's trail cameras back here. Mm-hmm. So we kind of knew he might be in the area.
Where was he? Do you know exactly where he was or where he was captured or the situation?
Well, he was captured apparently right under where that helicopter's flying. Mm-hmm. They said 355 block, and this is 341, so, it'd be somewhere right down there. But,
And did you know him?
No. Like I said, I may have talked to him for a minute and a half in the year and a half he lived here. Mm-hmm. So... But, it's kind of an odd thing how, just all of a sudden some of this stuff pops up, and unfortunately that's what we're seeing left and right nowadays.
Yeah. Glad he's caught?
Oh, yeah. But,
what's it been like around here the last couple of days?
Yeah, just excessive police cars driving by and stuff, but, like I said, drones and helicopters and all that, so...
All right, sir.
We got plenty of info from one of the Trump shooters. It was just about did he not Trump?
We got plenty of info from one of the Trump shooters. It was just about did he not Trump. Oh, you talking about that one at the hotel? The hotel dude? What's his name? Audie?
7 this morning, I got a phone call from my contact at Sibley County Sheriff's Department saying that the car was found, this guy's car was found on the gravel road right next to my farm. He was wondering if I was there, which I wasn't, and they would be probably searching the place. So I came down here. I can't access the farm. They did find that car and cowboy hat next to the farm there, and the BCA just got some information from me about the layout of the buildings and the camper and ice house and stuff like that that's on the grounds and how to access that stuff, and that's about all I've been told.
Is the wooded area here, that's your property?
Right beyond that, so that's about, I suppose that's half a mile away, so the next quarter mile is the farm, and then 301st Avenue is the next road, so it's within sight of right here.
And you said near your property, do you know how close?
The road, you walk from the road down in the ditch and into my field.
What does that feel like to get a call like that? Did this suspect get large and hit the car?
You're watching it, it's already a crazy situation. I was out here working last night and I was thinking, gee, I wonder if that guy is in the woods here. Be kind of some nice places to hide, and you don't, you continue to work and you just go home. And a friend of mine, John, was sent me a funny message saying, hey, did you see that guy running around the farm there? And I said, no one did before. Yeah.
I mean, you never really
broadcast around. No one knows. It's far away from Green Isle here, where nobody locally knows anything about it.
Wouldn't necessarily cross paths.
Right.
Gotcha. And so you haven't been back since you got that call.
I haven't. I got a text through the sheriff's department asking me if they could set up a command post, or if need be, if they could. I said, yeah, let me go for it, and I didn't.
Yeah, fair. I want to show this real quick here. Amazon jar fully breaks down over MAGA. Let's see.
That's how you doing, bro? You fucking Nazi, run, you bitch ass nigga! You're a bitch ass nigga, look at you! That's how fucking America's about! You're a fucking Nazi, you'll fucking kill yourself!
Damn.
Look at you running away! Look at you running away! You ain't no fucking American! You ain't no fucking patriot! You're a fucking Nazi! You're a fucking bitch! You're a fucking bitch! You're a fucking Nazi bitch! You're a Nazi bitch! You're a Nazi bitch! Go! You Nazi bitch! You're a Nazi bitch! Look at
You know there's something mentally wrong with this person. He's on his job delivering packages and he's losing his mind, raging.
Fucking Nazi fuck! This is California, nigga! We don't want the feds here! Fucking bitch! Nazi bitch! What? Say something!
You're hilarious, bro.
You're a little bitch, nigga! Step out your car!
You're hilarious.
You're a little bitch, you Nazi fuck! I hope you go home and eat your fucking Glock bullet! Go with your unclean, unmaintained, cheap-ass Glock you have, nigga! Fucking bum!
Good job, bro.
Go to work!
Good job, bro.
Go to work! Get a job, you fucking Nazi piece of shit!
Good job, bro.
Run, nigga!
You did a good job.
This is California, you fuck! This is California, nigga! Nazi fuck! Fuck you! Nazi fuck!
Damn, that's crazy. See, this is the type of person you'd have to be worried about owning a gun. He can't, he's not in control of his emotions. He's a nut job, nut case. You shoot anybody, kids, probably dogs, cats, anybody. This guy's just lost his mind, unhinged. Jeez. Let me see if there was something else. That was Tim. Yeah, that was sad. Oh, this guy too. There was this guy. This is something I just saw last night. This guy, I guess he was assaulted during the protests. He got like jumped.
You go. Let him go. Let him go to me. No.
So the thing with that, did you hear the sound that this guy was making when he was punching his helmet? It's like hard.
Let him go to me. No. Let him go. Let him go.
And so then he maced in self-defense, right?
Stay back!
I think we're done with the shooter coverage, by the way. Just to kind of just touching on a couple different topics before we head out. But so he said, Antifa just jumped me. This was June 15. While SPD was refusing to intervene with the riot tonight, militant Tyler Hand and his lackeys jumped me, dealing several blows to my head. I was able to deploy pepper spray and repel them, regaining the belongings they knocked out of my pockets. And so this guy was like pretty... This is one of the 3 men who jumped me at the federal building in Seattle. Seattle's crazy, and so is Portland. He is crying and suffering from the effects of my pepper spray.
I don't have any more right now. Okay, thank you. You need more? No! Bro, you have more? No. Okay.
So I saw a post to, oh, these were these people too. These people are nuts. It was Seattle. There was one night they were doing this, lighting fires in the street, like troublemakers. No, I didn't see any cops come out either. It was just crazy. It's like some of these places, the cops just don't bother responding. Like Portland. Portland, barely. The whole place gets torn up. So he got jumped, and he said that he believes this guy. In 2019, when I was beaten by, this Andy said, I was beaten by Antifa, they wore thick black gloves that had fiberglass material in the knuckles, or wear using brass knuckles hidden in the gloves. I didn't have a helmet, and as a result, I suffered a subarachnoid brain hemorrhage. Subarachnoid brain hemorrhage. Antifa could have easily killed you in Seattle had you not been wearing a helmet. So these people, look at the helmet damage. All right. You got to be really careful. I mean, these people are, you know, they sit all day and they plot and plan how they find little sneaky ways. These people don't have regular fist fights anymore. You know, you see all the shootings that are happening, all the, you know, Carmelo Anthony and Metcalf, you know, they're having a disagreement. The guy just pulls out a knife and stabs him in the heart. There's no, the days of like hand fist fights, like back when we were growing up, we settle it, whatever, and we move on. Shit, maybe we even become friends. after the fist altercation, you might be best friends after, you know? I don't know. Those days are gone. So you got to be really careful if you catch yourself in public in a situation. You got to be really mindful. Not that you want to be confronting and having all these kind of fights or anything. I'm too old for that. But you got to be really pay attention to what these people have in their hands. You might think you're getting in a fist fight. Those days are gone. They're coming up with all kinds of ways to cheat and try to underhand. And the moment you defend yourself, like this guy pepper sprayed him in retaliation, then they're the victim and crying on the floor and help and you know, I was attacked and like all this stuff. Then the script flips and they're the victims after they perpetrated these attacks. You know, so it's just really dangerous. I saw this post from this guy. I was like, oh, that's interesting. People are like lost and misguided, you know? Let me see. Was that it? Oh, this was another thing I wanted to show you. This was LA. They posted this. Los Angeles residents records what the mall looks like right now in downtown LA. Every store is boarded up and fortified. This is California. This is supposed to be one of the most prestigious, iconic places on earth. That's music playing, but yeah, they boarded up. Businesses boarded up. They don't want their stuff robbed and damaged. When I was watching Portland the other night too, I couldn't believe what that place looks like. It looks like a dump. Portland looks like a dump. I would never want to live out there.
Look up how many protesters have won lawsuits against Portland.
Really? Let's see. Thank you for the 5. What's that? Jessica Cook. Thank you. Portland's like a dump. I don't know if all of Portland is like that, but I've heard bad things of it. And then when I saw the other day where the cops were just letting slide, I was like, man, I would never want to go there. Lawsuits and settlements. $938,000 to 9 journalists and legal observers. In March 2025, Portland agreed to settle with 9 plaintiffs, journalists, and legal observers who were injured by police during the protest. Interesting. $400,000 to a disabled protester. In 2024, the city paid this amount to Dustin Ferrer, who alleged an officer kicked his wheelchair during the 2020 demonstrations. The city payouts exceed $1.3 million. Over dozens of claims, at least 9 major settlements involving journalists, observers, protesters. So they've been winning against the city. So maybe that's why they don't do anything anymore. Is that what you're saying too? Maybe that's why they don't do that shit. They're winning all these lawsuits and these perpetrators are being victims after something happens, after something, being out there and being crazy. And now, I mean, there's going to be innocent people probably too that get caught up. But yeah, if they're losing all these lawsuits, then maybe that's why they're not going to jump in. All right, go ahead. You guys handle it yourself. You tear the city up because we're not going to take these lawsuits. Also, isn't that taxpayer money? So I wanted to touch on this too. The other day when we were covering the protest, there was this one guy in the crowd. I think we were watching from the helicopter, and he was snapping and going off. Well, I found this clip, and this gives context to what happened. It says this gentleman was angry because the flag was upside down. He says he's an American and loves this country, and that's disrespectful. He was blocking the lead vehicle that was guiding the march through the No Kings protest. So this is what happened. We saw from the helicopter. We didn't have any audio. Well, this was on the ground. So it looks like he was out there by himself in a sea of people, you know, trying to stop the vehicle. But this is exactly what these people do. They block traffic. They step in front of vehicles. Not that I say it's a good idea, because you never know someone might run your ass over.
Hey, everybody, can we form a wall? Everybody back up. Fucking thing I've ever seen. This shit's bigger than you. This shit is fucking bigger than you. This shit is all. Blocking my shot. No kings! Friends, we already fought this fight once, we'll fight it again! No justice! No justice!
So that was that. I guess they ran him off. Oh, and apparently they're doing protests in Roblox and video games now. Hundreds, if not thousands, of kids and teenagers are standing against ICE protests, rallies, and even in games. Riots across Roblox servers. This is crazy. Watch as hundreds, if not thousands, of kids and teenagers across the country take Roblox servers to organize and stage virtual protests against ICE. From digital rallies to chaotic in-game riots, young players are transforming the popular gaming platform into a hub of political expression and resistance. The movement, coordinated through the group chats, is rapidly gaining traction, especially in Brookhaven, Roblox's most popular server. At the same time, some players are role-playing as ICE. I might have to make an ICE agent and go in there. Tell them, kid, go to sleep, go to bed, it's bedtime, go read a book. I'm gonna have to go in there and start just taking shit down. I'm gonna have to get a group of people, put these kids, get them off the server. Conducting raids on illegals. Oh my God, even opening fire on anti-ICE protesters within the game. That's pretty wild. Oh, look at this SWAT. La Migra. Somebody calls himself La Migra. Yeah, this is crazy. Oh my God. Somebody go in there and tell these kids to go to bed, go outside or something, man. Get out of there. This shit's crazy. Wow. That's wild, man. These kids are a trip. It's wild. All right, I guess that's it for now. I'm keeping it kind of light. We'll see if anything happens later. I'm gonna be hanging out with the baby girl. My stomach was like upset. I don't know what happened from Saturday. Saturday we did a really long day. We did 17 hours streaming. You believe that? It's crazy. 12 hours on one and like however on the other one. So I've been kind of taking just a little bit chill. I don't know if the protests are going to start up again. I did want to see, or there was something else I wanted to see. Trump on Tim Walz. He supposedly made some remarks. Let's see real quick. Trump on Walz. But he said something. He may call Walz.
Trump says he may call Walz after Minnesota shootings, calls him grossly incompetent. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz the violent asks gunman disguise.
AI robot channels. All right, but I think that's it for now. Thank you guys so much, man. I appreciate you guys coming through. Be safe. Love you guys. Thank you for all the support. Oh, yeah, for sure. Indoctrination. You got to be really careful, man, with the apps. And well, definitely TikTok, too. TikTok, I think it's one of the worst. Karen Reed is still, they're still waiting, I guess, and deliberating. I guess they're still deliberating. All right, guys, take care. Have a good afternoon. Bye. Bloop, 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 bloop. Thank you. Yeah, just kind of resting, taking it easy.